I've been making economic videos on this channel for more than a year now, and it's great fun and sometimes quite challenging. Each video has aimed to dissect key economic news, especially focusing on the often misleading use of data. It's clear in making videos about economic policy that there's so much to criticise. But I feel strongly that it's also crucial to move beyond just criticism. I'm someone who maintains a fundamentally positive outlook in life. I don't want to only be making critical videos. There's so much scope for a much better economic approach. Much better. So I'm excited about this. I'm not sure that I've allowed myself to let this come across in my videos until this point. The current global economic system clearly has the capability to generate incredible growth and wealth. It is a fact that many people's lives have been dramatically improved by such growth. However, there is one glaring failure: the widening gap of inequality and persistent poverty. It's evident that while some thrive, many people are left struggling. Some economists don't want to concern themselves with the distribution of wealth. They believe that the economist's job is to maximise the size of the economic pie, not get involved in anything beyond that, leave it to elected politicians to consider the distribution of wealth, how the winners and losers are compensated. I fundamentally disagree with this approach. One of my founding principles is radical equality, and I'm doing a separate video on this. But in short, for me, radical equality is the elimination of all forms of social, economic and political hierarchy. Not radical equality as an outcome, as a starting point. Given this, the outcome of massive inequality just cannot be tolerated. I'm really disappointed how most mainstream economists seem to settle for this. It's not that they like it, but they just think there's no alternative. In many of my videos, I've repeatedly highlighted the massive inequalities in access to basic essential necessities, housing, healthcare, education, and the dire need for increased public funding of services. I've advocated for increasing taxes on the super wealthy, raising ideas such as land taxes, wealth taxes, capital gains taxes, and, really important point, this isn't about redistribution. It's about shared values, community, a shared purpose, unity, human compassion. For me, this isn't about class warfare. It's about class abolition. It's not about abolishing all wealth. I fundamentally believe in the right for people to keep the fruits of their labour. A system that allows people to make profit, even get rich, is not problematic in itself, subject to the caveat that we collectively ensure that nobody is left behind, nobody is left to suffer, that everyone has the opportunity to fulfil their potential. Because I believe, and I so strongly believe, that everyone has potential. There's another really important point to make here on the type of economist that I want to be. My focus isn't only on inequality between rich and poor. I'm also interested in what gives life meaning, what makes us happy. In this way, I'm interested in economic changes that are good for everyone. I used to work in the City of London on a six-figure salary, working for global law firms and consultancies. I was successful, but I wasn't happy and fulfilled. And I noticed that there were other people in the city that also weren't happy and fulfilled. Yet we were all, economically, very successful in terms of mainstream economic ideas. I think there's also an argument that new economic ideas are required to find meaning and happiness in life. It's not just to do with whether we're rich or poor. Looking back at the videos I've made over the past year, perhaps I have played it a bit safe, stayed within the guardrails of a mainstream economic approach. There may well be policies that I've proposed so far that are merely kind of minor adjustments to a fatally flawed system. They might seem like mere tinkering with an already faltering economic approach. They're definitely steps in the right direction. I've talked about some really interesting ideas, but they're not enough to address the systematic flaws. Consequently, I'm strongly feeling the call for more radical solutions, the need for economists to think outside of the conventional economic matrix. Economic labels such as free market, Marxist, post-Keynesian, neoliberal often box economists into predefined categories. I think this limits innovative thinking. As economists, most of us are trained to think within the orthodoxy. It's rare to find economists that are open to thinking outside of the box, open to more radical solutions. So what type of economist am I? Is there a label that I can apply to myself? My economic philosophy is influenced by a spectrum of theories and ideas. Of course, my views are shaped significantly by my political leanings towards the left. However, I do resist being pigeonholed into a single school of thought. I got my BA and MSc in economics in the mid-1980s. It was a time of Milton Friedman, monetarism, free market economics, rational expectations, so I very much have a mainstream training in economics. However, my understanding of economics is also heavily influenced by Marxism. I agree with many of Marx's critiques of capitalism. That said, I'm absolutely opposed to authoritarian approaches and state control. I do think we need a better application of some of Marx's ideas than we've seen in the past. Similarly, I have some affinity with anarchism. The idea of championing a more engaged and localized democracy, that governance and decision-making are as close to the grassroots as possible, moving away from an overpowering central state, although I would personally steer clear of some of the more extreme anarchist propositions. I'm also heavily influenced by the principles of environmental or ecological economics. In addition, there are some really innovative emerging ideas around foundational economics and community wealth building. These also play a significant role in my economic approach. And lastly, my approach to economics is deeply influenced by my spiritual beliefs. I'm not religious at all, but I do have a great interest in exploring the non-material aspects of our existence. I draw inspiration from teachings that emphasize compassion and community welfare. Dare I mention even love? For me, these are the values that should be central to any economic system. So perhaps you can see why I can't pigeonhole myself as following a particular school of economics. Moving forward, I'm going to start exploring all of these more radical economic solutions. For me, this shift towards alternative ideas isn't merely academic. Call me a naive optimist, but I think that we really can change the world. So what does this mean for the type of economist that I want to be? By embracing this eclectic mix of economic ideas and integrating them with core humanistic and spiritual values, I think we can begin to formulate a more compassionate and sustainable economic framework. This is the type of economist I want to be. This is the future of economics I believe in, and it's the one that I will continue to explore and advocate for in my work. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.